For Magic the Gathering players looking for something to get excited about, the next standard release, the Outlaws of Thunder Junction, of course, had a little bit of a spoiler with the Commander decks, but there's a lot more going on with the upcoming release schedule for 2024 and what Wizards of the Coast has planned that brings a lot of fear into players' hearts, and this is something we need to talk about. I would like to think right now that Wizards of the Coast is in scramble mode. They are trying to figure where they went wrong, why things aren't working out the way they thought they would with play boosters, murders at Karlov Manor, and of course, now the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. And of course, if you want to see more Moxman, you want to see more of this, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, new content every single day. But now we are on to the Murders of Thunder Junction. But before we stop off there, let me remind everyone that yes, there is still a lot of agony to follow the 2024 release schedule for Magic the Gathering. The murders are getting murdered. You've got the new Fallout boosters being canceled left, right, and center. I did that canceled video. Go check that out. It's getting worse, not better. And of course, now we've got the Outlaws of Thunder Junction, which has a whole fear factor following it because the box prices at Murders of Karlov Manor are not holding up. When a box price fails to attract a value point to it, and stores are panic selling and getting and flushing into the market all this extra product, just trying to recuperate some value, that doesn't bode well for your upcoming release schedules. Because who wants to pre-order any product knowing the price is going to fall? And not only that, if it's a good product, my order is going to get canceled because you're going to jack up the price. And this is where we're at as Magic players. We face this in 2023, and it seems to be continuing and bubbling over into the new year. Now, when you look at a pre-order and you go to a big LGS, right? You go to a big store, it's probably going to be honored. You go to like a 401 Games, a face-to-face, a major LGS player in your local city, it's probably going to be honored to a certain degree, okay? I've never had any problems with the major stores, and honestly, I've never had stuff really canceled from smaller stores, although I know it happens. So when you look at that and you realize those stores need your pre-order to even order the product, because things like the play boosters aren't working out for them, which brings us back to Wizards scrambling, we have a bit of an issue, don't we? We have a bit of a falling out between Wizards of the Coast and the player base, and it seems like it's continuing. It's a little more quiet, a little more muted. I mean, as players, we want to get excited about something. We want to have a good time. The Wilds of Eldraine went over very well. The Lost Caverns of Ixalan, it was a great set. And then we get to this, like, murder mystery clue thing, and I knew a lot of players didn't like it, including myself, but it seems to be getting worse and worse by the day. Okay, I'm not saying certain cards don't have value. The singles market is a different conversation for a different video. But where we are right now as sealed product or upcoming release schedule products where you've got to buy into something to get those boxes, it doesn't look good. And this can lead to an entire host of different ways of solving the problem. If you go back, 15 years? 16 years? Whatever, we can go back pretty far. And you look before Commander was as playable as it is now. What did we get? We had draft boxes and bundle packs. Wizards of the Coast may end up going back in time to these tried and true methods. They may decide that they've got to cut the release schedule back on Commander decks from every single set. It may take a while for that boat to turn. It may take a while for the decision to be made. But if you want to get Commander players who only have to buy a one of something, they're going to have to buy some packs if you've only got that one offering of play boosters available. And maybe the collector packs. And that's it. Because those collector boxes bring them in a chunk of revenue. But the Commander decks with all that extra packaging, mediocre decks that are created basically for new players who want to try out a certain theme or a tribal follow through, they can go the secret layer route, build up a really powerful, fairly decent constructed deck with unique artwork, and they can charge 3 to 4 times as much as those 4 Commander decks. So don't be surprised if Commander decks are the next casualty in the thinning of the SKU line of what they are offering at Wizards of the Coast. If it's not making the money and it's mediocre and it takes extra time and money, as well as engineering and product placement time, they may decide just to let it go. And that means Commander players, the the biggest position of players in Magic as we know it today, those players may just have to go surfing for singles. They're going to have to go hunting them down. They're going to have to go get their own crime novels. They're going to have to go look for the individual cards they desire, but they can't just buy a Commander deck that may provide 10 to 15 of those cards. This is where the game may be headed. This is where the avenues available to players may be slimmed out even more, because if there's no faith, if there's fear following a product, and the fear doesn't it just has such a tight grip that nobody believes in the value, even cutting the print runs to where we've done it now may not be enough. Even having things like the Slime Against Humanity being a $5, $10 card may not be enough. This is where we are at as players when you hear about the excitement of the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Yes, there are a few players who are pretty stoked about it. I myself don't like the actual design of a lot of the characters, the look of it. It doesn't remind me as much of Magic, and it doesn't remind me much of the Old West. It just kind of reminds me of another Magic theme that I'm not really behind. May have great cards, may have some cool artwork that I enjoy looking at, but the overall theme doesn't grab me as a player. This is not War of the Spark. This is not world building. This is not a multifaceted treasure hunt. It's missing a lot of the elements to make Magic exciting, to make you become invested. And when you have the standard release schedule looking this way, and every person I talk to, and I do mean all of you, who have emailed, texted, hit me on my Discord, hit me up on my Instagram, all you guys are out there saying, I can't wait for Modern Horizons 3, Bloomburrow, and then Duskmourn. Duskmourn's kind of hanging in there, which is surprising. The horror theme gets a lot of players excited. Remember that. Wizards, remember that. Because the themes you've chosen have not gone over well. This is a very interesting time. I've seen the Reddit subboards. I've seen the players. I've talked to the store owners. This is going to be something that is not going to go over well in the long term for the health of Magic the Gathering, unless Wizards of the Coast can really turn around. Now, this could be all part of their release schedule that I said. I've had lots of conversations with you guys reminding you they were dealt a hand that goes 12 to 24 months ahead, right? These could be the last products of the old line before they move forward with brand new products. But the fact they're on the books, being printed, being out, means maybe they anticipated this year being bad, which is why Chris Cox mentioned that it's not going to be a big banger year other than one or two sets, that they're going to have more difficulties. But don't forget, and don't discount the fourth quarter. Don't forget that Marvel's coming. Don't forget we're going to get Bloomburrow, and of course Modern Horizons 3. So yeah, the first half of 2024 is definitely not going to go the way Wizards of the Coast thinks it will. But they have that's the end of their line, and now they're moving into more aggressive products that are going to be more appealing to players. So when I look at products coming up and I look at the themes and motifs they're offering in the sets, I don't really hate the Outlaw kind of idea of a world created. I would have loved it better if it was a world created by evil planeswalkers so they could all conjugate here on a way of taking over the multiverse after the Phyrexians failed. The right story, the right theme, the right take, anything can look good. But this doesn't seem to have that element. It doesn't seem to have that drive. It doesn't feel like a Clint Eastwood movie from back in the spaghetti westerns of the 70s, right? We don't have that feel. So I'm going to go with this saying it's just another chalked up set that's going to have some good cards, some bad cards. We are going to have a few areas that we like, a lot of areas we don't like. I do think the boxes will probably end up getting discounted just from what I've seen so far. And no, I haven't seen tons of spoilers. We've only been talking about the ones we've seen, which is the pre-orders, and of course seeing the Commander deck screens, which I'm sure you guys have seen on dozens of other YouTube content creator stuff. Seeing those decks right there, and knowing what I've seen in Commander decks over the last few years, it really makes me think that a lot of these are going to be the first products to go next time if Wizards has to make cuts. Because they can force players to buy individual cards or build really amazing things from secret layers. A whole separate product line, but build good Commander decks later on, tailored to a higher priced audience. It doesn't mean you want it to go that way, but if they're not going to get enough sales from everything else, they're going to make you go that way and pay the price to still play this game. It's very interesting, guys. So either way, I hope you guys can take away from this that the fear that follows a product when it doesn't sell well is a hard thing to lose. The grip of that fear can carry from product to product. It can haunt whole companies until they go bankrupt. Now, I do not believe Wizards of the Coast is going bankrupt. They're making way too much money. Let's be honest. But I do think that the products they're creating right now were for an audience that was 2 years ago. And that audience has matured and learned how Wizards of the Coast is playing the game. And that audience is not falling prey to the same gimmicks and ideas that Wizards of the Coast could have laid out a couple of years ago. When we see it now, we're not falling for it. We're saying, I can wait. I have patience, and I will get the cards I want and engage with the products that they told me. Pick the ones you want to engage with. Maybe not every product's for you. And that's exactly what Wizards of the Coast said to us, and that's exactly what we are doing as players. Picking the individual cards that matter to us. I don't buy boxes of cards anymore. I don't buy whole cases just to crack them and have fun. No, Wizards, you lost that. You lost that. All I do is buy one box for the channel, and I buy the single cards I think are kind of cool so I can build individual decks and enjoy the game the way I see fit. I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the same way. So before we wrap up this video, let's be honest, we're at the end. Who here is buying the Outlaws of Thunder Junction? Right now, with what you know, for everything we just discussed, are you buying cases? Are you buying packs? Are you buying singles? Are you skipping this entire product for Modern Horizons 3 and Bloomburrow? These are things that the Moxman needs to know. These are the things I need in that comment section to continue my daily routine. You got to make it happen for me. Guys, thanks a lot for hanging out on the channel today. Thanks for being here. The Outlaws of Thunder Junction may have some good stuff, but that does mean it's going to shake the fear that's followed after the murders at Karlov Manor. I'll talk to you guys later. A big shout out and thank you to all the patrons I have supporting this channel each and every day. To all my YouTube membership members who help make daily uploaded content possible, guys. It's the patrons, it's the YouTube membership members. Thanks again to each and every one of you guys for supporting this channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. What are you guys doing here? What, this is the part where I'm supposed to say ramble jamble and things get... It snowed. It's snow outside right now. I'm going to shovel. You should be here helping me. Go get a shovel. Travel. Help me. I need help.